Well, welcome to it. We are all fired up over here. I tell you what, man, you can tell it's championship week, the grand finale of the Blitz, which is heartbreaking, but at the same time, as heartbreaking as it is, we're still very excited that it's here. Oh, Chris's videos, we're ready to answer them, buddy. I'm telling you what, we are primed. We are ready to get this done, man. We got my man on my left. I got my man that's been with me all season long. We got Alex. So, Alex, how we doing, man? How's it going?
Doing great. Ready for championship week. I got, I think we were talking about it earlier. I got 6 teams going into the finals out of 14. So here we go. One's for a signed AJ Brown jersey. So I'm excited about that one.
Absolutely. Heck yeah, man. That's got to be exciting. That's going to be a nice win right there. What about you, my man on my right, Justin? We've been riding this out this whole season. I know you keep saying you're going to be this short time service guy, but we keep dragging you back in and dragging you on for longer than you want. And I still don't care. How you doing this morning, my man?
I'm doing okay. Obviously, I'm not doing as well as you or Alex this morning. I have out of 19 leagues, I only made it into the finals in one. A couple of leagues where other things matter, like trying to win an extra draft pick for winning the Chip Bowl or avoiding punishment by not doing too bad. But I was the number 1 seed in a lot of leagues and got highly disappointed last week. So I'm still depressed by it. So let's move on.
It happens, man. It happens to the best of us. Last season, I was actually in 19 leagues and I went 0 for 19 on that one. This year, I'm actually 6 for 13. So I'm feeling a lot better about my chances. And then, of course, we got all hands on deck. I think Joe was going to hop on as well. I saw him there for a quick second, but we got our man, the Frito Bandito. What's happening, Rich? How we doing this morning?
I'm good, man. I was like scrambling. I thought it was just Alex or something, but I thought that's the reason why they were asking jump on. I didn't realize everybody else was going to be on. So,
well, it's too late now.
No, hey, I'm here, man.
You're stuck. So somebody's got to be the in-house Raiders guy. So we're going to go ahead and just get this kicked off. Chris, let's go ahead and get him started. Chris says he's going Gerald Everett at flex this week. And he knows what my next question was, is who do we got? We got Chase Edmonds, Derek Gore, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, AJ Dillon. Are we playing any of those guys over Gerald Everett? I'm wondering if that's the same question.
Yeah. I mean, if it is, I'm definitely playing a couple of those guys over Gerald Everett this week. If James Conner goes, I'm playing James Conner. But if he doesn't go, then Chase Edmonds would be my next pick. But I would start Josh Jacobs or AJ Dillon over Gerald Everett this week. That game in Green Bay is going to be really cold, and they're going to give the ball to AJ Dillon a whole bunch. So
this is just for his RB2. So I think he had a confession that he's playing Gerald Everett at the flex this week.
Yeah. So for me, it would be James Conner if he plays. If he doesn't play, then Chase Edmonds would be my choice, and then I think it would be Jacobs and then Dillon. But so it's kind of some caveats there with, not sure if James Conner is actually going to go, but
I had a message this morning that, he is looking like a go for today. So with between those two, if that's the case, I would almost prefer, Josh Jacobs in this situation.
Of course you would.
Raiders fan. No, I'm a Broncos fan, and I actually agree with that. I think I'm going to lean Josh Jacobs right here as well. Just because I like James Conner and I like Chase Edmonds. I like their matchup. I just don't know what their usage is going to be. It's time to not it's not time to screw around here, and Derek Gore got a lot of good garbage time looks last week. I don't think it was anything above garbage time. I think we're going to see a lot of Darrell Williams today. In fact, he's one of my starters on my DFS lineup that I had this week. So for me, it's actually going to be Josh Jacobs in this spot right here. What about you, Justin?
So I cut out there for a while, so I don't know if we determined if the player in the last message was a part of this or not?
Nope, that was just a confession. Gerald Everett at his tight end was just a confession. It was just
Gotcha.
the sad truth.
Okay. Not, and I don't think that's necessarily horrible, but so we're just choosing one out of this group.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I'm only choosing one, then I think I'm gonna probably go with Josh Jacobs. And not just because Rich is on here and I try to make him happy. I think it's the safer bet out of everything with the split between Chase and James Conner. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs.
Excellent. That's 3 for that. Trans-Siberian says, evening, boys. Who's the new fish? That's Rich. That's awesome that you called him new fish.
He's got his borscht.
I do. He's drinking your Dr. Pepper. I've got my borscht. See? So I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. And actually, all joking aside, man, I hope you're staying safe over there. And you get the hell out of there if that's up to anything that I have to say about it. Like, just get the hell out of there. Chris's video says he's playing Gronk and Everett for his tight ends. That's not too bad. I guess, you got to do what you got to do. Our man Joe showing up saying, just in case it matters, looks like Huntley is starting for the Ravens. Yikes. Talk about a crackdown, man. That was really sad to watch the decimation of the Ravens this year. They look so strong. They look so good. And now it's just, their defense is solid still, but they're on the field so long, so often. It's just hard to be good when you're that tired all the time. But here we go. Trans-Siberian says, Penny or Mitchell? He's got a DST question also. No pressure, championship, and money. So who are we starting today? Alex, we're going to let you lead this off. Penny or Mitchell? Who are we going with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to lean Penny, though. He seems to have that backfield on lockdown. DJ Dallas gets a little bit of run here and there, but it's pretty much Penny's job. And they're going against who is it? I know it's not a tough matchup. I don't remember now.
The Lions.
Oh, Detroit, yeah. So I think Penny is going to run all over Detroit. So that's where I would stick. Mitchell just coming back from that injury, kind of, I'm playing him in a couple spots, but if I had Penny to play over him, I definitely would. And for the defensive question there, I'm going to say Green Bay because that game's going to be nice and cold. It's supposed to be like single digits at game time start at kickoff. And that with Sean Mannion in there, that could lead to some, a good amount of turnovers because they've been turnover machines the last month. So it would definitely be Green Bay for me.
I think in this case, I will be going Penny too, as much as I hate to say that, because I am going against him in a lot of my championship rounds this week. Penny is the better matchup and everything. Now, as far as defense, surprisingly, I like the Bears better. They are going against the Giants. They could be sneakily good this weekend as they're playing. Just a banged up, no receivers. I think Galladay is the only real receiver there. Everybody else is coming up from the practice squad or they signed this week. Barkley doesn't look like, he's a shell of himself right now. I think he needs another offseason to get back into shape, to get really in there. But I like the Bears defense against the Giants today.
So I want to take a look at the defense first. I want to kind of pick up where Rich left off there because Mike Glennon also is slotted to be the starter this week as well, and also up to 30-mile-per-hour wind gust in Chicago. So you've got your backup quarterback. I really like that juicy matchup. The other matchups are really good too, though. But I think if I had to choose one, I think the Packers are far and beyond the better defense, though. Going against Minion, we don't know what we're going to see with Minion and the rest of that offense, but they could very easily try to go Dalvin Cook heavy. And if their game is on, maybe they can run the ball. I just don't see a scenario for the Giants where they can do anything. So I think my tiebreaker there is going to be that the overall the Giants offense is just worse. So I'm going to go with the Bears. And then I'm gonna go against you guys. I'm gonna go with Mitchell here. Mitchell also has a really nice matchup this week in Houston, and that may not be as good of a matchup as Penny's. Obviously, Penny going against Detroit, but I do think that Penny's in more of a timeshare than Eli Mitchell will be this week. And I also feel like the Seahawks are going to be able to throw the ball on the Lions a lot more efficiently and effectively than the backup quarterback for the 49ers, Trey Lance, coming in. I think you might see Trey Lance run the ball a lot more than Jimmy G would have, and a running quarterback usually bodes well for your running game for your running backs as well. So I'm going to go with Eli.
Yep, and I'm actually going to go with Eli Mitchell here as well. I think he's got the volume play. I like his situation a lot more than I like Penny's. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with the Bills against the Falcons. I mean, the Bills are going to be – they've been really playing some lockdown football lately, and I think Matt Ryan's been playing some – I don't know what you even call it at this point, but it's not even football. And I think the Bills just decimate the Falcons today, so I'm leaning that way. What you got, Rich?
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. I had a late day yesterday working, driving home in the snow yesterday, but I read this morning that Garoppolo might be playing. Is that true?
No, they've been saying that he has a chance to play all week, but he tore that ligament in his thumb and stuff, and I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, no way. No way. We got our man Dustin. Dustin, how we doing this morning, man? I miss you, man. I've been seeing you in the Patreon. I've been needing to get on there a little bit more. Looks like the guys have been giving you some good solid stuff. But he says, "What's up, guys?" He said, "Should I roll with Damian Harris, Michael Carter, James Conner, or Marquise Brown? We need two. Guys, it's championship time. Rich, who we going with? Who you leaning on?" Even though he said Chamlionship.
Chamlionship. It's like chameleonship. The chameleonship.
The chameleonship, man.
I'm going.
He's a Lions fan.
You, Rich.
What's that?
If anybody can read that, that's you, Rich.
Damian Harris. Man, Damian Harris is going to be my number one overall. That is this group that I am going with. Now it is man. I like James Conner and stuff like that. Opposite of the question that we answered earlier. Because Carter's going to get locked up against Patriots. Are they playing the Patriots or the Bucks?
Tampa.
But yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Still, that defense line, that they don't let anybody run on that. So in this situation, I don't trust Brown with Huntley, although he might have a decent game. Huntley seems like a good, solid play and everything, but I'm going Harris and Conner in this matchup.
Alex, what are you thinking, bud?
Yep, I'm with him with Harris and Conner. New England's going to run all over whoever they're playing. Jacksonville. They're gonna be able to get up early and just run it down their throats with Harris. And I can't sit Conner in my championship after what he's done for me all year. I know he was banged up last week, but even if they put him in there, they're gonna put him in on the goal line and he's gonna score. I'm thinking 2 touchdowns today. I just got a feeling. Because whenever he's in the game, there's always a chance he can get 2 touchdowns. So even 4 yards and 2 touchdowns is still enough for me to, get him in my flex spot.
Excellent. And what are you thinking, Justin? Are you on that same page?
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. It sounds great.
Excellent.
I can't add one thing to that.
I'm going with Damian Harris, but I do like Michael Carter a little bit today. I do kind of with the same anticipation. I do see him getting himself a couple of scores just because there's really just nobody else to go to on that team with a lot of their weapons just being decimated as well. Let's go ahead and get here to the next one, which kind of just jumping all over the place. You got Chris's video says DK Lockett or Brandon Cooks, wide receiver 2. Justin, lead us off.
DK Lockett or Brandon Cooks. I mean, I still have to go. Lockett over DK just because of the consistency of this season. Neither one of them been very consistent, but DK just kind of scares me with his up and down. I think if one of those two are going to have a bad week in your championship week, it would be DK. So really, it's down to Lockett or Brandon Cooks, and to be quite honest with you, I love me some Brandon Cooks. I really do, and I think that this is a game. This is a game that the Texans actually have a shot that they could make this something big, and this could be a huge game for them. I know they have 4 wins. Like, you're not going to have a huge game, but by Texans standards, this is a huge way for them to end on an up note. And I think I'm going to go with Cooks here, and I have a feeling I'm going to be the contradiction.
I'm actually leaning Cooks myself. That's who I was thinking is Cooks as well. I don't like that headache that is the Seattle receivers. I do like Lockett a lot today. I can't hinge my championship on DK Metcalf. it's really hard for me to say that you even got to the championship with a guy like DK Metcalf in your lineup on a week-to-week basis. He just has not been the guy we've needed him to be this year. I do anticipate his future will be good, but I just don't like him this year. And so now Lockett and Cooks, but Cooks should just have a good day, man. And I think against San Francisco, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. Davis Mills has looked pretty good. Let's roll out Brandon Cooks. What are you thinking, Rich?
Yeah, like it's good to say that to me, out of these three, Brandon Cook is the number one receiver that has just been producing. Now, Tyler Lockett sneakily has been producing all year. It just, except for his injuries and stuff like that, he's been good. DK has not, and he's probably drafted over all for the other two. But I'm going Brandon Cooks because he has got the future Hall of Famer Davis Mills throwing to him, and Tyler Lockett.
Gotcha.
Yep, I'm going Cooks with you guys as well. When he's out on the field, he's been the most consistent out of all of them. And in a championship, especially at my wide receiver 2 spot, I'm assuming you have someone that has a higher ceiling. But even Cooks has a huge ceiling. He won me a couple games last week. Because he got a bunch. You got like 30 points almost in PPR. So I'm rolling with the Texans here, and who put up 41 points last week. Let's see if they can keep that going.
Absolutely. So that's a consensus there, Mr. Negativity, sitting over there to my right. Jeez. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but in my experience, it's always Jorge Gabriel. We got, all right, guys, need to fill up my RB2 flex full PPR. We got Zeke, Rojo, D. Williams, Penny, Howard. My RB1 is Eckler. So what are we doing? We're going to... Oh, man, this is tough. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one off, guys. I think I like Darrell Williams a lot today. Rojo scares me. If that guy is one fumble away from being on the bench, Zeke has not been the guy that I've been liking. Penny, I already told you my opinion on him. And then Howard, Boston Scott likely can come in there and score all the touchdowns. So for me, it's Darrell Williams. And if I'm flexing somebody else, then I am going to lean Zeke for that second spot.
Yeah, Zeke would be my first one. He's looked better and better over the last couple of weeks. Like if you're actually watching the game, and he's also been getting, a lot of that work. Pollard was out a couple weeks ago. But I'm not sitting Zeke in my championship game this week. But I'm going to lean Penny. I like Darrell Henderson. I think he's in line for a good amount of work, because it looks like the Chiefs have finally figured out that to combat the cover two defense is to run the ball. I think they've finally gotten that in their head,
3 years in the making.
Yeah. But so I like Darrell Henderson, but I think I like Penny more against Detroit. I think the matchup is just way too juicy. So I'm going to go with Zeke and Penny.
I got to say, Alex, I appreciate your consistency there with that talk about, because earlier you were talking about Connor and how you're perfectly fine with getting minimal yardage in this game because there's a chance he gets 2 touchdowns. What people aren't realizing about Zeke is, like, people trash Zeke for only getting 60 yards a game, but yet he's the 8th best running back in the league right now because he gets touchdowns. And then they want to rave all about Connor because he's out there scoring touchdowns, even though he's only getting 60 yards a week. Like, it's like, I don't understand the inconsistency there. So, so you pretty much just, your analysis on Zeke was exactly the same as Connor, and you chose both of them. So I appreciate that. I'm also going to take Zeke. I'm actually going to go with Rojo here because of the matchup, just strictly because of the matchup and the fact that he's going to get the majority of everything. Like,
until he does something wrong.
And if he does, then what are they going to do? Throw Gio Bernard out there?
Keyshawn Vaughn, yeah.
Keyshawn Vaughn,
Mr. 55-yard touchdown.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
he's a highlight reel at best right now. So we don't know enough about Keyshawn to know that he's going to be able to come in and just take the load. So I think he can, but I don't think he will. And okay, Rojo's one mistake away, sure, but I guess you could. That's fine. It's against the Jets. I don't foresee him having a whole lot of mistakes against the Jets. So I'm going to go with Zeke and Rojo.
Yeah, don't take that 50-yard run by whatever his name is. Don't take that as anything, as he's going to get anything more from that. Look, this game is going to be Rojo. They're playing the Jets. Zeke and Rojo is my 2 picks, but the fact that people don't think that look, I don't care if it's one mistake or two mistakes. Okay, he's still their running back. Okay, Keyshawn Vaughn. Yeah, don't get fooled by that 50-yard run. It's going to be Rojo all day long. I would be playing if I had him in any of my teams. I'd be playing him as my number one running back. He will have a good game today. I'm it's there, man. It's set up for success for him. I don't care if he fumbles once or twice. The receivers are beat up and everything. They're going to run the ball and everything. It's just the way it is going to be today against the Jets. Zeke and Rojo. I'm sorry to pound that in there.
No, I know, but Bruce Arians and running backs, especially Rojo, just scares the hell out of me in my championship week. Like, that's not the way I want to go out.
Yeah,
but that's just how I see it. Like, I love Rojo. I had him everywhere. I didn't have a single Fournette share anywhere because I thought Rojo was going to be the guy. And then he's not. And it's just Bruce Arians and running backs like that. And I'll stay away. He's got plenty of other good options that can go. I'd rather play Darrell Williams, Penny, or Howard over Rojo today. So
absolutely. Got Chris's video says he can't believe I'm asking this. Mahomes or Huntley at quarterback, and I can't believe I'm gonna just answer this for everybody and say Mahomes. you don't sit Mahomes, man.
Not in your championship week, man.
No way. Chris's video says Sony was and I mean against the Bengals. Like, come on now. Like, Kelsey's gonna light it up today. We got Sony Mitchell, we say, but it's Sony Michel or Marquise Brown. Who are we going with?
I'll take this one. It's going to be Sony Michel for me. They're right about the same for me, rank wise, but I'm going to go with the running back here, and he's been solid for them while Darrell Henderson's been out. And now that Darrell Henderson's on the IR, he went back on the IR, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
This week, yeah.
Yeah, so Sony's going to be their, RB1, and I want the Rams RB1 over Marquise Brown.
Same.
Yep, I'm good with that as well. And even our man Dustin says Sony as well. We got Joe Clark says Galladay will be injured by the end of the first quarter. Actually, he probably just got injured because we brought his name up in public. We got Chris's video says Cordarrelle Patterson or Michael Carter today. I'm leaning. I like Michael Carter, man. I like Michael Carter a lot today. But what are you guys thinking?
I mean, are we gonna bench the touchdown guy against the Bills?
He's been really crappy lately.
I mean, he has, but he's still been scoring touchdowns. Again, it's the whole Zeke factor. Like, I mean, the Bills are a much better defense than what they're used to, but Michael Carter's going against the Bucks, so I think both of them get plenty of workload. I'm not going to bench the guy that got me to the championship, and Michael Carter didn't get you to the championship.
Fair enough.
I'll be going Patterson too.
Yep, Patterson for me as well.
Boom. So that's 3-1. 3-1. We got to take it.
I do love Michael Carter. I really wish for championship week he had a better matchup.
Yeah, I'm really glad I picked him up in the dynasty leagues where I picked him up. Go Bears. D's Giant can't put up more than 6 points. Joe says, or he says, Joseph, I love it, man. Get to the right questions now here. We got my man Justin saying full PPR, half point first downs. We got one wide receiver and two running backs in a flex. We got Deontay Johnson and Waddle. Cook, Mixon, Rojo, Mitchell, or Javonte today. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. Right.
I'll start talking this one out. If I'm gonna have to pick between Deontay and Waddle, it's gonna be Deontay for me. It's very close, but I think Deontay. Yeah. It's Big Ben's last game at Heinz Field. Well, most likely his last game at Heinz Field. I think he has a day, or at least he's gonna try his hardest until his arm falls off. And then you need two running backs, so definitely going Cook because that game's gonna be cold, so they're gonna put it on the ground. It's gonna be Cook and Mixon for me, and then we need one flex. And here, I think I'm going to go Mitchell. So it's going to be Deontay, Cook, Mixon, and Mitchell for me.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and hop in real fast here because I like everything until our flex. I agree with you. I'm flexing Javonte because I feel like every receiver in Denver has COVID right now. I feel like Javonte Williams is going to – and it's against the Chargers, so a really, really weak run defense. I think they're going to pound it. He did really good against them last time. And now the situation's even better for him with good old freaking lock in the backfield calling play signals. So for me, I'm going to go with Javonte here instead. But everything else I agree with.
Okay, so I'm also gonna agree with everything but the flex, and I'm gonna go with Rojo. I gotta stick with Rojo in there. So now we have Mixon and Cook and Deontay Johnson. All three of us agree with. And we all three have a different flex. So I'm really hoping that our boy Rich is gonna flex Waddle here.
Oh, make me love you and just actually put Waddle in your wide receiver spot. Like really pinch it up.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, he is.
Waddle is my number one receiver here, man. Look, he's going for the
I knew
record.
it.
They are going to be feeding him the ball left and right. He'll break it this game. And
that's
not
a
only
tough
that,
one.
they're going to keep on they got 2 games left. I mean, they're still in the playoff hunt and everything. They're going to keep on feeding him the ball. So Waddle is my number one receiver in this choice. Now I'm going Cook, Mixon, and my flex is Javonte. Look, I love a running back that's going to have a more opportunity to get on the ground and get receptions and everything, and he can catch the ball. So that's the bonus points there for me in that game.
Hey, I like that too. You can't really actually argue with any one of those takes. To me, you're in a pretty good position in a pretty good situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you got some. If that's his team right there, I'd love to see who his main starters are too, because that's a great team right there.
You're right. That's a fact right there. We got my friend Hilda Mack on. She says, "Happy New Year, PPR, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex." First off, Happy New Year. But the wide receiver and flex are DJ Moore, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Michael Carter, and Chase Edmonds. Yowza. She always comes at you with some solid lineups. That's one thing I can tell you from history with Dana.
Well,
she always can get you those good, solid picks right here.
You can't sit Amon St. Brown. He is freaking on a roll. You got to roll with the hot hand and everything. So he is going to be my receiver that will be going in this situation. They're going to feed him the ball. Now, as far as the flex, it's a very tough between. Like I said, I just don't like Carter against Tampa Bay. If Edmonds is going to be who my flex is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with that flex as well, Chase Edmonds, and this is a tough one for wide receiver, but at the end of the day, they have been going to Amon-Ra a lot, and he's been performing. I think eventually he's going to be a really solid wide receiver in this league for a long time. So, and he's the younger brother. We all know how that works. Like he looked up to the older brother. I mean, look at Derek Carr, who has a much better career than David Carr, right? So we'll go with Amon-Ra and Chase.
Amon-Ra and Chase. So I'm going to go with I don't argue with Amon-Ra. I think I like that take there. I don't feel like he's going to have a lot of volume against the Seahawks today. I think that's going to be a pretty low scoring on the ground, run the clock out type of game. What I do love doing all season long, and it's been paying off, and he's actually one of my wide receivers I have in my DFS lineup as well, is I love picking on the Washington team football. And I'm going to go with Devonta Smith as my wide receiver right here. And my flex, I'm going to go with Chase Edmonds just because I think that I like his volume opportunity over the rest of these guys. And I mean, I've been talking about how high I am on Michael Carter, but he's still not above what Chase Edmonds has been getting done for me. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to screw around with it a little bit more, and I'm going to go Amon-Ra. I can't deny what they've been doing these last couple weeks. I think he's still going to he's the only guy on the field to catch a ball today. So, except for Swift. See, and I think this game is going to be kind of telling. Since Amon-Ra has been doing a lot of work since Hawkinson and Swift have been out. So I actually don't think he's going to be as good next year because he's going to have a lot more competition. They're probably going to get, another wide receiver somewhere either in the draft or, in free agency. So I think Amon-Ra is going to be a little bit of a trap play this offseason for Dynasty. So sell him if you can, if you got him. That's my advice. But I'm going to go with Devonta Smith here. He had a really good game last week. Jalen Hurts looked a lot better throwing the ball and staying in the pocket and giving his receivers a chance to get open. And like Mike was saying, I like picking on that Washington team football. So I'm going to go with Amon-Ra and Devonta Smith here.
I like it. Dana also asks, Huntley or Tua today? Justin, what do you got?
Give me Hundley. I mean, he's got the legs to give you that
did look
running
bad.
X factor. So he's been playing pretty well. I mean, I'll take Hundley. I'm not going to be. I might be a little bit nervous if I'm starting Tua in my championship matchup. I'm not really all that nervous if I'm starting Hundley. So
That's interesting.
That is a weird take.
Yeah, I love Tua, but that Tennessee pass rush is really good, like almost the best in the league. So that kind of scares me because he hasn't done great under that much pressure because they are going to be on top of him all day long. So I think I'd rather roll with Huntley here because he's been good, and he hasn't actually had to do a lot with his legs. He's actually had to air it out a lot, and they're going to have to put the ball in the air against the Rams. So I think Huntley's got the higher ceiling here, and maybe even the higher floor. So I think that's just the play.
This is a very evenly matched up. Their Rams are playing against a Ravens, so that, I mean, if all the defense is there, it should be a solid game. But out of the two, Huntley and Tua, out of the past 3 weeks, Huntley is the one that's been producing more and everything. It just he has Andrews there. I mean, Andrews going to keep getting the ball and everything, so it's going to be more of an air game. So I do like Huntley in this situation.
I like Huntley a lot here. I do feel like Tua does have himself a pretty decent game, but I can't argue with the fact that Tennessee defense is a lot more stout than a lot of people have given them credit for. If everybody remembers, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about how they were the number 1 seed in the league, and they were dominant and tearing things up, and just some injuries kind of knocked them down, especially Derrick Henry going down. I mean, that's like losing the engine to your train. It's you can still move the sucker, but it's a whole lot harder. So for me, I like Huntley, even though it's the Rams. What you got, buddy?
Derrick Henry, by the way, is still a top 10 fantasy running back on the season.
Yes, that's how good he was. That's how good he was this year. And I mean, you don't just have dependability like that. So let's see. He goes, Chris's video says, have y'all seen those ads that go like, hey, do Metcalf, you're a completion machine? Like, I have not seen those, but that would be like, I want to see Metcalf be good. I want to see Metcalf be good again, man, because he's so talented. Justin says full PPR, half point first downs. One wide receiver. This is a different one. Wide receiver, 2 running back and a flex, Deontay Johnson or Waddle. So it's all basically the same. Now we added Boston Scott into the mix. Does that change anybody's answers for anything on that?
No,
I don't believe it does mine either. I'm thinking that I'm good with what I had there. Matty O'Hal 93 says, do I play Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon, or Christian Kirk full PPR? Yikes. Christian Kirk has been on fire lately. But I still think I'm going to go with dependability on Elijah Mitchell. What do you got, Justin?
Yeah, I can agree with that. But I was actually going to say full disclosure on the last question. I wasn't paying full attention because I'm trying to figure out my fantasy league login where my wife erased my computer for me. And but whenever you said, does Boston Scott do anything for you for that question, I could automatically say no matter which question it was. So anyway, Elijah Mitchell definitely in this situation. Well, I can't even say definitely because I do love me some AJ Dillon, but I do think that Elijah Mitchell is going to get a lot more of a workload and the opportunity to score some points this week. So I'm going to go with Eli.
Elijah Mitchell for me too.
That's a quad step. That's a quad step right there. Our man Joe Clark says he has Taylor, Chubb, Mixon, and Najee starting in the Frankensteak. Would you play Rojo over Najee?
No. Nope.
I wouldn't either. But Justin, I think this question is for you because you're so high on Najee. Would you, or not on Najee? I mean on Rojo. What would you do here?
No, I'm not playing Rojo over any of that. And
that's my
Najee. I don't know.
Isn't he facing you, Rich?
Early in the season, yes, Najee for sure. But I mean, Najee hasn't been playing. He hasn't been performing as well the last few weeks because that whole offense hasn't been performing too well. So, yeah. I think I will go Rojo. I talked myself into it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's going to get so much workload. I mean, and when they have the lead, like I know it's Brady, he still throws the ball like crazy, but I think it potentially could be that embarrassing that it's just like, you know what, we'll just run the ball and let Brady sit on the bench for the fourth quarter.
I don't
Najee
think it
just
matters.
scares me.
I don't think it matters who you start, Najee or Rojo. As long as you got Taylor, Chubb, and Mixon as your main three backs and stuff like that, they're going to carry which one. They're going to both have an even games. So I would stick with what got you there, and that's going to be Najee.
Yeah. This is a great example of how running backs win you championships.
Absolutely. We
Especially
wonder
when
why
you
we
can
draft
steal
them.
Yeah, that
Marcos
was a
Valdez.
solid draft, Joe.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, gosh.
Auto
dang it. Marcos Valdez says half PPR. Higgins, AB, Keenan, St. Brown, Rojo, Sony start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Also, Miami, New Orleans, or Green Bay defense. So we'll break down the first one first. I don't know about you guys. I'm not sitting Higgins anytime soon. Higgins for me, I think I'm going to go Higgins and Higgins and Keenan. Sorry, I'm not sitting Keenan Allen either. So my flex, I think I'm going to go with Rojo here. What do you guys got?
I might have to bench Rojo in this one just because of Sony getting that workload.
Yeah, I was close on those two.
I think I could talk myself into Sony on that one, but definitely Higgins. I really like AB this week as well, but I think they go up early. They may not try to push it. They've got to save that wide receiving core. They risk another injury. I just think they're going to run the ball like crazy in that game. So I'm going to go Keenan as well.
Yeah, Higgins and Keenan. I usually hate going back to a receiver that's had a huge game the week before. But this case, I'm going to go ahead and stick with him, though. But Higgins, Keenan, and Justin, you got to stick, just like what you said to Alex about backing your guy 100%. Sony's going to get the workload, but we just got done saying Rojo's going to get the workload too. So in this case, I'm going Higgins, Keenan, and Rojo.
Yeah, and I do agree with that stance, but I was also big on Sony's workload as well. So since I'm high on both of them, I got to choose one. So,
And I'm gonna go. Oh man, that's a lot of good receivers.
yeah,
But I think I'm gonna go with the first three there: Higgins, AB, Keenan for me. I think they're all. It's championship week. I'm going for ceiling. I think they all have the high. Sony. And Rojo are going to get the work. I'm scared of Rojo, but I know Sony's going to get the work. But I don't know. I don't think I can deny the type of ceiling that you can get with that Higgins, AB, Keenan combo. So
I actually changed my answer to that too. I'm with you, man. I'm like, I just like seeing that. Makes me feel really good about my situation going into the weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I'm not relying, and even with those guys, you're not necessarily relying on the touchdowns as much either, because they're all big volume plays. I mean, I know Sony is too, but I don't know. I don't think I could start Sony over any three of those guys in my lineups.
Yep, I like that too. The second half of that, Miami, New Orleans, or Green Bay defense, guys. Who are we going with? I'm leaning Green Bay here myself.
Yeah, I don't think it's that close. I'm going Green Bay as well.
Yep.
I'm actually going New Orleans.
Well, nobody agrees with you, Rich. So
all right, I appreciate that.
On. Just kidding.
Hey, Rich is the one that has no pressure here, though, because if he's wrong, then it doesn't. Like if we're right, it doesn't really matter. The question, the guy that asked the question gets the right answer, and if he's right, then he gets to rub it in our face. So,
or here's my reasoning, real quick. Okay, so look, Packers are playing against the Vikings, and they still got Dalvin Cook, and I don't care what anybody says, Dalvin Cook is a beast. Saints are going against the Panthers and stuff like that, and Panthers have shown the last 3-4 weeks and everything that they just ain't got nothing going on. Everything they signed Cam. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
They're starting Sam Darnold today, dude. What more do you want?
Yeah, once again, sticking with New Orleans on my defense.
That's actually a really fair point. I was just giving you a hard time, anyways, for sure. But I definitely am still leaning towards the Green Bay way, just because they've been on fire lately too.
Nobody chose the Dolphins, but I've got to say this, guys: the Dolphins are a mirage. Okay, they started off 0-6 and then had a 6-0 run. It's because of their schedule. It's because of certain injuries on the other teams that have fallen the right way. Like they're playing Tennessee, who's not even the best of the best in the AFC, but pretty solid in the AFC, and they're gonna exploit the Dolphins today.
So not only was it an 0-6 run, they're the only team that went on an 0-7 streak loss and an 0-7 win streak loss.
Or seven.
There you go.
7-0, yeah.
Yeah, they went
seven.
0-7 and then 7-0.
But if you look at that schedule, man, there's like that was a much tougher first 7 games and a much easier last 7 games. And I know they're just playing who's in front of them, but that team is a mirage. And
speaking of Finns,
George Reed.
Yeah, speaking of Finns, we got our resident Finns fan here and our good friend of the show, and actually the host of the Blitz the last like 5 seasons with me as well. My man George Reed. And I hope you get feeling better, George. I hear you got the COVID again, man. Jesus. But he says Titans versus Miami game is expected to have rain the entire game. That might lean me a little bit more towards the defense in that situation, but I'm still said I just like what the Packers have been doing. They seem to score. David Wysong says he needs a win for the ship. Full PPR, pick one defense, Dallas, San Fran, or Miami.
I'm not sitting Dallas. They have been awesome all year long.
I agree.
There's no way I would sit. I don't even know if there's another defense on the slate today that I would start over them. That's how much I like them.
And then I think we all agree with that, right? Does anybody have any? Okay, yep. And then he says, is Pitts reliable today? He has Schultz and Gentry available, but he likes Pitts. Man, Pitts looked good last week. And, if Buffalo defense does have a weakness, it is against the tight end. But, man, I can't ignore what I've been seeing out of Dalton Schultz, man. He's been very, very involved in that offense. I think I'm leaning Schultz here. What do you guys think? I like Pitts a lot, but I think I like Schultz just a hair more.
I mean, I agree. I like them both. I think I'm probably gonna lean more towards Pitts though, just because of the matchups. Like you said, I think if anybody's gonna do anything for that offense, it's going to be Pitts. Pitts will get the work between the 20s, and then Patterson will punch it in.
I like Schultz due to the fact that he's been a rock star for the Cowboys this year, and he's playing. Is it in Cowboys or Arizona?
It's in Dallas.
In Dallas, so home game and everything, controlled environment as far as weather. Pitts is going up to Buffalo and everything. I don't know how he's going to play in weather like that. I want to see one game like that before I trust him, so I'm going Schultz.
Yeah, I really like Schultz as well. I'd be interested to see who your flexes are because I like both Pitts and Schultz. I think they're pretty even for me today. I try to get them both in my lineup. It would depend on who you have going in your flex. But I think between the two of them, it's all about touchdowns, and Schultz has been a touchdown monster, and Pitts has one on the season. So he might get you some yards and some catches, but I think I got to roll with Schultz here. Dak seems to really, really like him. They have a connection that's been killer all season that I wish was with Jarwin, but, what are you going to do?
Absolutely. So then we got our man Ross Martinez says 2 wide receivers, 1 running backs, 1 flex. We got AB, Deontay, Jamar Chase, Rojo, Sony. So basically, who we sitting out of this group?
The running backs for me. Oh wait, you need 1 running back. So
we're really only sitting 1 guy out of this group right here.
I'm sitting Rojo.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm actually benching AB. He has a high ankle sprain coming into this game and everything. And if they do go up and everything, look, Rojo's going to touch the ball more than AB is. So I want touches more than anything.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing I said on a question earlier for those same 3 players. So I agree with Rich on this one.
Excellent. And then Joe says it's too late for the fantasy playoffs. Derrick Henry is going to be back for the NFL playoffs. I think if that's an if, I don't think Tennessee's guaranteed anything at this point. I think they can actually still lose their seat. So it'll be really curious. Matty Duhane says
I think they pretty much have it wrapped up because they can if they lose the last 2 weeks and the Colts win the last 2 weeks. I can't remember the records though.
I'm telling you, man, I watched a video on all the different scenarios that can happen for the AFC playoffs today, and I went cross-eyed. Yeah. And I was like, so if this guy wins, it's like almost like when you have 19 fantasy teams playing in the championships at once and you want to go root for one team to get something done and try not to root for everybody. I don't know. It's just chaos.
Yeah. So the Titans only have to win one of these last 2 games because they beat the Colts both times they played this season. So they have the tiebreaker on them. So the only way the Colts can do it is to win out and have the Titans lose out the last 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, and it should be pretty close as far as that goes. Matty Duhane says, "Hey," and he says, "Lazard or Gabriel Davis today?" And man, I love me some Gabriel Davis now that he's back in. What do you guys think?
I like them both, but Lazard's been playing well, and he's really stepped up into that second role. I think we're going to see a lot of air attack against the Vikings tonight too. Plus, it's a primetime game, so if there's a tiebreaker for me, I like to go with the primetime guys. Give me Lazard.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gabriel Davis here. Again, he's got a nose for the end zone. Josh Allen loves using him down there in the red zone. And Lazard has been coming on, but MVS has also been out the last 2 weeks. Just from a Packers perspective, seeing every game, and he definitely did come on last week when MVS was completely out. But I think that's because it was a need to kind of thing. But I still think because he's had a lot of opportunity over the last 3 years with the Packers, in the wide receiver 2 spot or the wide receiver 3 spot, they just don't. Lazard and MVS don't really seem like solid wide receiver 2 options, but getting the mix of both of them in there and, kind of changing it up every once in a while, having MVS go long, having Lazard as the possession guy, I think that works the best out of all of it. So I just don't see the volume in that game for him today.
This is actually a real tough one for me. To me, they're about even as even can be and everything. Both got good QBs and everything. But I guess I will lean Gabriel Davis in this one.
Excellent. So that looks like a majority there for Gabriel Davis as that goes. Our man David says, "Thanks, all good luck, happy New Year," and right back at you, man. Happy 22. Jake says, "St. Brown or Metcalf today?" Thank you. God, I'm going St. Brown. It's weird to say it. What do you? Everybody nodding? Do we agree?
Yeah. But yeah.
Unless we're talking about Equanimous, and then it's
don't do that.
Then I'm going on Metcalf. Back on him. Maddie also says Gronk or Foster Moreau today. Finally, a Foster Moreau question. I'm really high on Foster Moreau with Waller being out. He's been getting a huge uptick in targets, especially in the red zone. Gronk has been the opposite of that. I haven't been seeing a whole lot out of Gronk like we've been seeing. Of course, we'll say this, and he'll go out there and have himself that custom 2-touchdown day. But I can't ignore the volume I'm seeing out of Foster Moreau. I'm going Foster. Rich, resident Raiders fan, what do you say here, bud?
I'm going Gronk in this situation, just due to the fact of the options that Tom Brady has to throw through. He's going to throw to somebody he trusts more than anything. So in this situation, I like Gronk. I do love Foster Moreau. Do not be deceived by that, but Gronk will have more opportunities.
Yeah, I would say that, Rich, but last week when he had no one, Gronk only had 1 catch. Now, that could be because they focused more on him. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know for sure. The defense could have been all over him since he didn't have any other options. But Mike Evans is back. He's going to play today, so he's at least going to be a decoy out there. I think it frees up Gronk a little bit more. I'm going to have to go with Gronk here. He's had every time he plays, well, most of the time he plays, I'd say 90% of the time, 85% of the time, he's been a stellar tight end, and I'm not gonna chance it on Foster Moreau in a championship.
Well, part of the reason that Gronk didn't get a whole lot of looks is because Rojo ran the ball 20 times last week. And again, we're talking about the Jets, so I still feel pretty strong.
Was that an eye roll there?
I still feel. Hey, and he had 20 carries for 65 yards, so it's not like it was a great average. I'm just saying he's going to get the ball. Like they don't want to risk more further injury unless they absolutely have to. You're going to see a run-heavy game. I can't. And plus, Foster Moreau is playing my Colts, and I've seen the downside to my Colts in that defense all season long. Unless Darius Leonard is covering Foster Moreau, he's going to tear it up. Foster Moreau is going to have a big game against the Colts because most tight ends do, because it's not very often that Leonard drops back in coverage. So give me Foster Moreau.
All right, so let's get this over with right now. Side bet, Justin, you, me, Colts Raiders. Winner, 6-pack.
So there's a reason that I haven't wanted to try to make a side bet with you. I'm not super confident in this game, especially without Wentz. But I'm not.
Wentz is playing now.
Did he get cleared?
Yep.
All right. But hey, if we're gonna make it a 6-pack bet, it's got to be local craft beer. Like
That's fine. Just let me know, and I'll send you them. I'll Venmo, PayPal, whatever you want to call it. I'll send you the money. But
no.
He's already conceding. He's already.
No, I want. I'm in a beer buddies league. It's actually the one league that I'm in the championship in. So go figure. You throw in beer, and I actually do pretty well because I check that lineup daily.
That's right.
But we actually do ship beer back and forth to each other. So I'm saying you pick up a local craft beer from your area and ship it to me.
I already got one for you. Red Revolver.
Yeah, there you go. You just that sounds dangerous. I love it. So
Is that that Andy Dalton of beers?
It's honey. It's called a blood honey. It's good. It's good.
Make sure you tell them you're shipping like. But
you'll be sending me some though.
Tell them it's coffee mugs or something. Don't tell them that it's beer because they won't do it.
Gotcha.
What is happening, my man Joe? What's going on, buddy?
Effing kids, man. Effing kids. But
I tell you. My man from Dash of DFS signing up, man. We'll go ahead and go over our Dynasty or our DFS lineups here shortly. We'll go ahead and bust through these Twitter questions here. We've only got a few of them today. We got at Dennis Trade says, is DeAndre Swift a starter sit this week? He's been out of the lineup the last 4 weeks. What are you guys thinking on DeAndre Swift? Is he... For me,
ready.
I was hoping we were gonna get a bunch of DeAndre Swift ones because I don't know how you don't play if the Lions in a lost season are gonna bring him back and think he's healthy enough to play with all of their other skill position players out. Hawkins is out. Reynolds is on the COVID list. Like I know Amon-Ra has come on, but I don't know how you keep DeAndre Swift out of your lineup today if they're gonna roll him out. Like it would have to be a pretty high running back or wide receiver for me to play over him. Like
they're really feeding him, and they're actually looking bizarrely not horrible the last few weeks. Obviously, the Arizona win and everything. I agree with you. Plus, in a PPR, man, the way they give him the ball both ways, that's just it's hard to resist that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you weren't here earlier, Joe, when I said I think Amon-Ra is kind of a mirage right now because all their other skill players are out. So I think this week is going to be kind of a telling week to see how much it goes back towards Swift, versus Amon-Ra. But
it's funny. I have so many Amon-Ra lineup questions where, guys are in the finals now, right? This is the Super Bowl this week. And it's funny when you hear your buddies just texting you randomly what their lineup options are. It's a bunch of guys. None of these guys were drafted. Half these guys we didn't even know who they were until halfway through the season. That's how crazy it's been this year.
Yep. It's been wild, man. Got COVID season and everything like that. Always getting it done. Translate. I must have said 2021 Happy New Year or something like that. He says TGG 2021. Don't forget to promote it. We'll probably promote it hopefully with the 2022. Luckily, because smarter people than me run most of our stuff like that. So thank God. We got the OG Broski says he's starting Austin Eckler. He needs his RB2 flex spot. Which two are for the finals here, guys? Zeke, Darrell Williams, Rojo, or Penny? I'm going with the first two. What about you, Joe? What are you leaning here? What do you think? Who would you start in this spot?
I'll tell you what, I was just saying to somebody when Hilaire doesn't play, man, I love Williams. Yeah. It's another guy who's going to catch a bunch of balls. It should be a high-scoring game the way the Bengals have been playing offensively. So I'm going to roll with you. I'm going to go the first two. I'm going to ride the Cowboys' momentum, and I'm going to take advantage of the CEH injury.
Absolutely. Justin, what are you thinking?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do agree with that. With Darrell Williams, he's always solid every time he gets an opportunity. But I can't bench Rojo. I'm telling you, I've got with that opportunity, I've got to do it as much. And maybe he fumbles in the first quarter, and all of this advice has gone to waste. But all of you seem to be against me anyway. So the listeners are getting the majority. But except Rich has had my back, but now we're outnumbered because we got Joe here. So I'm going to go with Zeke and Rojo here.
This is a knockoff question from earlier. Just we don't have the receiver options in there. So if you ain't making the same choice you picked earlier, boy, I'm gonna come back and check on you. Zeke and Rojo, baby. Zeke and Rojo.
Yep, and it's going to be Zeke and Penny for me. Like I said earlier, like Rich just said, I like Darrell Williams. He's a very close second for me, behind Penny. So if the viewer would like, I would go with the Zeke Darrell Williams to break the tie. But I would play Penny over both those guys.
There you go. At TCU_gamer says to win a championship, Arizona to Ertz with no Hopkins or Moreau with no Waller in Indianapolis, bad D against tight ends. I've said all I wanted to say about Moreau. I'm leaning on Moreau pretty heavy today, including in my DFS lineup. What about you guys? Anybody going Ertz over Moreau?
No, I think it's pretty close for me. Ertz has been getting a lot of work, but I think I'm going to roll with Moreau here.
Ertz has been getting a lot of work, and I was excited for it too. But I don't know. I mean, last week it was a good line overall, but he's not getting into the end zone. I'm just worried with if it's not Edmonds right now, I'm a little scared of them. And Connor was so great for a while, but they got to start moving the ball again.
Yeah, Ertz had those 2 touchdowns that first week with Arizona, and everybody just fell into it. And then since then, he's been very mediocre, even with a lot of catches. So PPR wise, I mean, he has at least been consistently decent. But yeah, I just love this matchup against the Colts for Moreau.
Does anybody ever think of like a mediocre when somebody says mediocre? Like every single time I hear the word mediocre, I think of just like a giant ogre.
Like Shrek after he stops exercising for a couple months or something?
Or starts really exercising and he's really meaty.
So is he like an ogre that is in media?
A media ogre.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that though, Mike. Dirty Jobs, because you are a what's that, Dungeons and Dragons guy, right?
That's probably what it is. Everything's ogres and orcs and goblins.
Yeah, so this is an opportunity for us to kind of promote that we're doing a special episode.
T2T does D&D.
Yes, that's right. Yep, we're gonna have a D&D night here. What is it? February 5th. We're gonna have ourselves a game of D&D. We got a few of the T2T guys involved, as well as a kick-ass dungeon master. It should be a really good time. So make sure you're following us on every single platform you guys can follow us on, especially get on our Patreon and things like that, because you're not gonna want to miss this. We got a lot of fun things planned for this off season, and that's just kind of like the kick off the dynasty season with a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
We got DJ for live says Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase, or start both and sit Deontay Johnson. And I think you said it best at the last tail end of that sentence. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna start Jamar Chase and Deontay.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna bench Waddle, and yeah, I chose Deontay earlier over Waddle, so I can't go back on that. Even though Alex made a very good argument for Waddle, or wait, maybe that was Rich. One of you two made a very good argument. but I chose Deontay. I'm going to stick with my guns, and I can't bench Chase.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Deontay and Waddle. Chase would be the guy I would put on the bench, especially if it's PPR specifically. It would be Waddle and Johnson for me. They're both just target monsters. And like I said, I really like Deontay today. It's Big Ben's last game at Heinz Field. I think he's going to put on a show, or try to put on a show as much as he can. And Deontay's his number one guy. So that he's the guy I want today, in pretty much over most people.
I have to start Deontay because out of the 3, he's by far the most consistent. Like if you need 15 points from one of those 3 guys, your best bet is Deontay. I'm going to go Chase and sit Waddle because of the matchup, but I will be officially in a big time fight with Chase if he sucks again this week. And he was good last week, but I lost my fantasy in the semis because I went against Burrow and Chase couldn't get in the end zone. And it's a good game from him. It doesn't matter. I get it, but it just really aggravated me that it was 4 or 5 touchdowns and 500 yards. And Chase was only like 18 fantasy points of that. And you saw Boyd go off, and you saw Higgins go off, and everything. So I'm going to sit Waddle because of the matchup, but like I feel like I could hate myself by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like last week Chase only got the volume he did was because Burrow put up 500 yards, because he hasn't been doing much the last couple weeks. Yeah. That's exactly what. As soon as I saw the line and I saw Boyd and Higgins had more than him, I'm like, oh, he He got it because
was
everyone was
aggravating.
getting it. Yeah, you know.
It was aggravating to watch as an owner. And they went to him. They gave him a couple fades, when they were in goal. So I can't even say he didn't get the targets. They just didn't make the connections.
And I apologize to everybody out there because I got Jamar Chase in almost every single one of my dynasty leagues the week before he started to suck. So that's probably my bad, and I'm willing to own up to that. We got Matty Duhanigan. I think we already helped this guy out there. He came on. We got at JMart 74224221033489. 6 says Devin Singletary versus Atlanta or Amari Cooper versus 530. Amari Cooper versus Arizona. Full PPR flex spot, guys. Who we putting in here? I trust Amari Cooper like I trust a fart after Taco Bell about 2 hours. I can't do it. Not in my championship. Not against Arizona. Not against Buda Baker. I'm out. Give me Devin Singletary. He's been looking fantastic the past couple of weeks. What do you guys think?
The best part about Taco Bell is that 2 hours later you're hungry again and you get more Taco Bell.
Right. You can just start the vicious cycle right there in your bathroom.
Right. I'm lucky I live in the middle of nowhere. I would just like camp out at Taco Bell. But
that's awesome.
I think it's more of a what have you done for me lately? And I mean Singletary has finally. I'm not saying Singletary has finally gotten the workload because I've always liked Moss better, but it's like he's. They've finally chosen a running back to give the workload to. How about that? I'll word it that way. So I'm going to always take the running back in this situation if it's close for me. So
I love this is another great situation of you drafted Cooper to start. You drafted Singletary probably as a backup, and now you're in your fantasy Super Bowl, and you're going to play Singletary over Cooper. Half because of what have you done for me lately, half because of three ways, right? The matchup, what have you done for me lately? And to your point, they have finally kind of committed to giving him the most touches and really keeping Moss as the backup. I don't know what they're doing. Like 1 week it's Breida's inactive, healthy inactive, but then 1 week Moss is. But Singletary is, if it was a bad matchup, I'd go Cooper because it's home against Atlanta and it could be 28-3 at the end of the first quarter. I'm going to go Singletary.
For what it's worth, it might be a genius move by McDermott and that coaching staff to have rotated those running backs all season long the way that they did, and then now they run into the playoffs and it's like, okay, Singletary, you're the guy. Let's roll. And they have a much more fresh running back than most teams in the playoffs.
Maybe they're saving Moss for the playoffs, something to that effect too. Maybe they're waiting to get him back out on the field,
like a Leonard Fournette situation.
Yep, exactly. The whole Leonard Fournette.
So real quick, Dirty Jobs. I got to give this one to you because your little Myles Gaskin thing, the way you describe Myles Gaskin, to me, that's Devin Singletary to a T. Like it with a larger sample size. Take away the last 2 weeks. Singletary looks like a guy who could never achieve 4 yards a carry and is going to go for 4 receptions and 23 yards every single game. And, the last couple of weeks he's been better. But why does he not get bucketed in to Mr. Myles Gaskin for you?
Because he actually has put up fantasy points for me before, whereas Myles Gaskin has not. Myles Gaskin is he's almost like Amari Cooper to me, right? Like you can play that guy week in, week out, and just always be dissatisfied. You finally go, enough is a damn enough. You're on my bench. Cool, 3 touchdowns.
Yep, 2 touchdowns against Tampa.
He did it this year. They had to have seen the same thing I saw last week. Let's go ahead and run the ball. Nope, we'll see you in September again next year, buddy. So I just can't follow that kind of productivity. Gaskin's burned me way more. Devin Singletary, I agree. I mean, it's a lot harder of a compass to navigate when you start talking about the Buffalo Bills running backs because it is. It's like, why the hell are these guys healthy scratches? Like it seems like, oh, Breida's our man. And it's like, and Breida's our man to go ahead and he's going to do kitchen duty this week. He's out, and things like that. So it's really hard to predict what they're going to do there. But like I said, as far as that goes, Myles Gaskin just doesn't have talent where I think Devin Singletary does.
Rich, I got a question for you. What's more belittling, him having a hashtag Never Gaskins or Joe calling it the little Gaskins thing you have?
I'll go with the latter.
Oh, it's funny because my hate has been strong for Myles Gaskin. I remember my dynasty rankings this year was Josh Allen was number 1, and then everyone else, and then the very tail end of it was Myles Gaskin. So that was in my dynasty rankings for the season this year. I'm not a big rankings guy though either. Maddie Duhane comes back, says, should I put in Jordan Howard, Gabriel Davis at flex? Guys, you were helping build the squad for the ship. I love it. Give me Davis or give me Death. What do you guys think?
Gabriel Davis, it doesn't even matter if Sanders or Beasley are out. Somebody said that to me the other day. Davis is getting red zone targets regardless. So, I don't think his ceiling's 25. It's probably closer to 15. But if you need 4 for 50 and a touchdown, I see no reason why Davis can't give that to you. I don't know on Jordan Howard. I don't even know what to do with him at this point.
Yeah, who is Jordan Howard? I think he's my accountant, actually.
He's tagged along with hashtag never Gaskin.
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously.
That's the sub-tag. Yeah, it's Davis.
Yep,
Yeah,
Gabriel Davis for sure.
Yep.
He says he also has Boston Scott. Does that change anybody else's minds on that?
No.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking there. We got Sports Time
He actually did put that.
Sports Time HQ says, who would you rather start in your super flex spot? Mac versus Jax, Rojo versus New York, or Mike Williams versus Denver?
I'm going to go with Mac versus Jax here.
Yep.
I think that's a good enough matchup that I'm confident in having that quarterback. I'd rather have a quarterback in my super flex spot if I can. And that matchup is pretty juicy. So I'm totally down with that.
So this is how much I think of Rojo against the Jets today. It is actually really close for me, but I'm still going to have to go with the quarterback. You got to have the quarterback in there. But I still think Rojo's going to have that good of a game.
Yeah, I admire you for your stance on Rojo today. It's again, like I said, I just get a little bit nervous. It's not like I've never been a believer. If you look at me at the beginning of the season, I was like everybody else, give me Rojo. Yeah. I did have a lot of Leonard Fournette out of trades and things like that. But I still also had a good, healthy showing of Rojo at the beginning of the season. And I think he's a lot more talented than they're giving him credit for, but the guy just can't seem to shake that Bruce Arians hatred of him. And, I just can't get past that. It's a little bit scary for me. So, yeah, I'm going Mac versus Jax here as well. So we'll go ahead and we got a little pause here in the questions. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about DFS since we missed you guys on our DFS dash this week. We're going to go ahead and just kind of keep it light. Like, Joe, did you have any guys you really paid up for? Like the guys I paid up for this week, I have Travis Kelce at Cincinnati for 8,200. And then Cooper Kupp at Baltimore for 10-2. The one thing I can tell you about Travis Kelce is he's playing about the second worst defense against the tight end position. I think there's only one team that's actually worse than they are. Travis Kelce lit it up last week, and I think Kansas City wants that home field locked in. They're going to win, and you don't really have to say anything about Cooper Kupp. Did you have anybody there, Bud, that you paid in for?
I'm going to that Kansas City game. I mean, you know me with Kansas City, and especially after a bad, or not a great game last week from Tyreek Hill specifically. I like Mahomes. I like Hill. I like Williams. I do think they're going to score a lot of points. I've got Mixon today. I'm paying up for Mixon. I know the Chiefs' defense has been really good. I expect that to be high scoring. I think the Chiefs are going to score a lot. So I think in turn, Cincy is going to get their share of points. So I'm paying up for that game specifically when I really look at it. And I am playing Rojo, 7,000. I have him in my flex. I would say the one running back I didn't get in that I was kind of hoping to was Chase Edmonds, but he was $300 more expensive than Darrell Williams. So I went Williams just because Edmonds isn't a lock for the end zone. But with that matchup, I feel like Edmonds is going to run and receive all over the field today for Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't argue with the idea of getting as much action as you possibly can in that game because it should be kind of like that college game last night where it ended with over 100 points at the end of it all. It could be a really, really high-scoring affair. Both of these offenses are cranking it out. Both of these defenses are a little bit probably on the latter half of the league average. So I really kind of like that matchup a lot, and I can't argue with that. The guy that I see bouncing back this week, I got Javonte Williams. He looked really bad last week. I think that I said it before, Broncos are COVID ridden. They've lost all their receivers. They got a couple of tight ends, and that's basically all we're going to be rolling out today. They're going to have to get it done on the ground. You got a Melvin Gordon who's been kind of hankering with some injury. You also have Javonte who's been hankering with some injury, but I do like his bounce back potential this week. Last time he faced the Chargers, they crushed him. You have Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. You kind of had an off week last week because Kelsey was hogging it all. But again, I can't stress it enough. Get behind all that action you can in that game. The lineup I'm playing on FanDuel today, I got Matt Stafford at Baltimore for 76. I got Darrell Williams at Cincinnati for 62. Hankering with some injury. I love it. Javonte Williams at the Chargers for 6,100. Devontae Smith at the Washington for 61. Travis Fulgham making a rare appearance back into football. He's actually going to be one of the receivers for the Denver Broncos today, if you guys didn't know that. And I remember last year, that guy was winning me some fantasy weekends there towards the end of the season. And he was 4,500. I really wanted to squeeze Travis Kelce and Cooper Kupp into my lineup, as well as get Brandon Cooks in there, who's my next guy at 6,500. But those prices were just too high. I had to squeeze somebody in there. Travis Fulgham, let's get it done. Let's be that lock-in spot that nobody else picked. And Bills versus Atlanta. Joe, who do you got today? What's your lineup, man? Who are you rolling out? And I got to say this really quick. If you guys are smart, go pay whatever this guy is about ready to say. Go set this lineup. He has been dude. Oh yeah, okay. No, I'm like, I only won like 6,000 last week, and then I won 8,000.
No, I just sent the screenshots of a couple of the I went first place out of 72,000, but what I didn't tell him was 420 people tied for first place.
Hey, that's good enough for us, man. We can still hang our hats to how kick ass you've been doing at DFS this week. So go ahead, set your lineup to this. When you guys are all cashing or splitting that million, you just thank Joe.
Yeah. So we're playing Mahomes. We're gonna pick on that KC Cincy game. I'm sweating already now. Watch his lineup go for 44 today. We're gonna go Mixon for 8,500 with Darrell Williams, 6,200 at running back. You gotta love Darrell Williams at 6,200 because you feel like you're getting a number one back and you still get to play Mixon. Tyreek Hill, Van Jefferson, 6,000. Baltimore gave up 525 yards of passing last week. Gonna pick on that with Van Jefferson. We kind of usually give our cheapest play of the week. Mine is Gabriel Davis, 5,300 home against Atlanta. I'm a little afraid of that only because if they're up 35-3 at halftime, they're not going to throw much in the second half. But if they're up 35-3 at halftime, sign me up for like an 8-yard Gabriel Davis touchdown. I'm going to take advantage of the targets Gerald Everett starting to consistently get in Seattle, 5,200 at tight end home against Detroit. We're flexing Ronald Jones at the Jets. Didn't play him in that scenario earlier, but I absolutely do like Ronald Jones. There's just like that 5% chance that they're going to just throw their middle finger up to everybody and play somebody else and give somebody else the carries that we don't even know is active yet, because that's what they kind of do, like the Patriots a little bit. But I like Ronald Jones. And then when I dipped in earlier, being late today, somebody was talking defenses. I think they were talking the Cowboy defense, which I do like, but the other defense I feel the same way about. I think there's a little bit of cross to bear in New England right now after the last couple of weeks. Home against Jacksonville, I just feel like there couldn't be any more perfect timing for a team like the Patriots to have a game like this home. And I feel like their defense is going to bully around that Jacksonville offense. You got to pay the top 5,000 there, but I felt like it was important enough to get it in. Real quick, too, it just to what Mike was saying. And, I know I talk to people who are weathered in DFS. I talk to people who are just dipping their toe in. And everybody always focuses on these big, the 1 p.m. slate. This week, it's like 13 games because of the way the schedule shakes out. But and you guys too, like I've been having my most luck on the single game and the 2-3 game lineups. I've been doing the 425 turbo, which is usually 2 or 3 games, the primetime slate, which is that Sunday night, Monday night game, and then the single games for all of those. That's where I've been finding success. From an injury perspective, I don't even like putting 4 o'clock guys in my 1 o'clock lineups because it's been so freaking crazy lately. When you do those single games or you concentrate on those primetime slates, it's easier to really have the right handle on the injuries when you're making your lineup. You can be doing it a couple minutes before game time. It's easier. So that's where I've been making my money. I would just say the 1 p.m. slate's always most enticing. That's where the advertised millionaire contests are. But dive a little deeper, get into those smaller game slates, and you make that one cheap play the right play for the week, and you can be one of those top 400 who win that first place prize.
Yeah, when I played DFS, that's what I used to do, was play the 2-3 game, the afternoon games or the primetime slates, and it was I always found it to be a lot easier to get up into that upper echelons in those contests because there wasn't as much variance going in. I didn't play any this year, but I could imagine how the injuries would be killing you this year. That I would hate to have to go through and change all those lineups, if guys don't come through. So
I mean, Mike could attest to this because we're doing the DFS show on a Thursday night and giving a Sunday 1 p.m. lineup. And then when I'm putting my lineup together, finally at 12:30 on Sunday, I'm like, shit, this is nothing like what we talked about Thursday night. But you have to react to what happens, and especially with COVID now. I mean, we're playing the injury game up until noon on Sunday.
Yeah, and just to kind of let everybody know, we'll still be going with Dash to DFS as we go along. It'll be Friday or Saturday nights. I think we landed on Saturday nights around 7:30 p.m. Just follow us on Twitter to make sure that you guys can keep your eye on where we're going. Jeez, man, I tell you what, it's about that time. It looks like, boys, it's about that quitting time because you can tell I start getting all crazy. Make sure you guys go to toiletsandtitles.com for all the best videos, articles. There's all kinds of NFL fantasy and content. Hit that like, subscribe, do all that fun things. Get on our Patreon. Guys, this is it. This is the last Blitz of the season. I cannot thank you guys all enough that you guys are all been here. You guys have all been helping me out. I got to throw down a little bit of CL smoothie to you gentlemen. It's been a pleasure this year. Looking forward very much to already next year.
What about week 18?
Oh, you don't do week 18 fantasy, buddy. Not for, at least so in my experience, you don't really have too many people that need fantasy advice for week 18 because they really don't know how to play fantasy in the first place. They're just kind of going along for the ride. Usually those friend leagues, standard leagues, things like that. So we end up cutting down typically towards the end of the season. So, Trans-Siberian, I got to say something, man, especially looking at your picture. You need a place to stay if you want to be a free bodyguard. I can't feed you anything but live gator, but if that gets you out of the UK or out of the Ukraine with everything that's happening over there, get your ass on over here, man. We really appreciate you listening and catching on. Make sure you follow us. Keep in touch. We don't stop, man. We do Dynasty all season long. There's going to be a dash of Dynasty once we get everything going. Everybody, thank you so much again. Rich, Joe, thank you for joining us today. Alex, Justin, for just being amazing guys for the rest of for the whole entire season. Solid as rock. So, guys, happy 22. We will see you next season. The Blitz signing out.